Good morning, ghoulies and ghosties. Thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to be doing a timeless reading, which is something that I mentioned in one of the previous videos. And what it is a reading which is not static in time. So this isn't, you can find this reading down the road next year, next month. Doesn't matter when you hear it, it is going to apply to you at that time, because time doesn't work on the spiritual plane in the way that it works on the corporeal plane. It doesn't exist in the same way. So I could be telling you this reading now, but you may not pick it up until next year, and it'll still have applications in your life. And it is a pick-a-pile reading, so what I've done is something a little bit different today. I have a couple of gemstones. I have a very dark blue gemstone, a very light blue gemstone, and one that's kind of more an aqua and green gemstone. So I'm going to pull the camera over and let you have a look at those. Give yourself a moment to concentrate on whichever one is drawing you the most. And really the focus of this reading is the lessons that you've learned over the last 12 months. Sometimes it's hard to find meaning behind some of the problems and challenges that we face. Especially this year has been very, very rough for a lot of people. So I'm hoping that this is actually going to help some people kind of gather their thoughts around some of what's happened over the last 12 months and kind of maybe have a sense of reassurance from their spirit guides and about those lessons that they might have been learning and how it could be applied in the future. So I have the three piles. I'm going to put the photo of the piles in front of you right now. And all you need to do is take a couple of deep breaths, focus on the cards, and try to get a sense of which one is you're being the most drawn to, and that will be your reading. And of course there'll be timestamps down below so that you don't have to listen to every reading, every pile. But you're certainly welcome to do that if you want to. So we're going to do that now. Just take a couple minutes.
Watch the time change your mind about leaving. Watch the waves and the days they're receding.
Okay, so the very dark blue gemstone is the very first one we're going to start off with. Okay, yeah, already getting a sense of having very heavy burdens that you've carried this year, feeling like you're carrying more of the share of burden than people around you, and having to having to do that in order to maintain your lifestyle and your security. There's a lot of that around it, and also being very weighed down intellectually and spiritually over the last few months. And this is a very heavy burden you've been carrying, and there's been a feeling of not knowing how to get out from underneath it all. There is a feeling of almost threat to material, your material aspects of your world. You possibly could be looking at some at least some of the people who've picked this gem may have been looking at insecurity around material things and insecurity around housing. There's definitely a feeling of insecurity around housing and rent and paying rent and mortgage and that kind of thing, and feeling of real struggle around that and not knowing what to do about it. And almost a feeling of having thrown up your hands at some point and withdrawn and felt like there are certain people who have picked this gemstone who have actually faced having to relocate, having to leave behind things, having to have loss around that and loss around material goods, and it's left a great sense of depression around this particular reading, around this particular people who are drawn to this dark blue gemstone. There are good things that are coming out of this, if they haven't already. There is a sense of security around your family, so you still have family. The family connection is still there. There is a sense of actually having security around that. You may have lost some wealth. You may have lost some material possessions and material security, but there is still security around your family, and especially extended family. You may be more connected into your extended family than you were previously. There may be a sense of certain people who have picked this gemstone who have actually returned to their family homes. Younger people who have finished college and that kind of thing, and people just starting to get out into the workforce, or maybe even haven't been out in the workforce a little bit, but the sense of having returned to the family home might actually have happened. That's not a bad thing. There is a feeling of that you just don't know because you don't have all the information. There's a feeling of hidden knowledge and hidden agendas behind things. Everything that is unseen right now and is unknown to you right now will eventually be revealed. But there's a sense of great insecurity around you. And a lot of that has to do with the Page of Pentacles. A lot of that has to do with material wealth. A lot of that has to do with messages around finance. The Page of Pentacles in this reading is actually in its upright position, which means that going into the next few months, you can expect to hear more positive messages around material wealth and finances and having enough. Those things are, you're going to find that you are having more positive messaging around that than you have in the past. So you're coming out of a period, of a low period financially. Queen of Wands is playing an interesting part in this. The Queen of Wands is an intellectual female energy around you, and this is somebody connected to your work life and feeling of your finances is connected to this person. The Queen of Wands is coming up as a reverse, though, which means that there's some negative messaging, and there may be some struggles and conflicts around this person in regard to your material wealth, and like it's almost like you might owe this person. Don't be afraid to ask for help, and that's what it's telling me. There is a feeling of having the abundance there eventually, but you're going to be going through a period where you're going to need to ask for help. That's what this card is about. This is about asking for financial help and material help. And you may be reluctant to do that because this Queen of Wands character may actually be, it can be two things, and I'm feeling that it's both because, of course, this reading isn't for one individual. First, it is a person that you are reluctant to ask for help from. So it may be somebody that you have a complicated relationship with that you are needing to ask for financial help from. What it can also mean is this can be a significator of yourself, which means that it's hurting your pride to ask for help and to extend yourself and ask for a hand up. And it's not a handout, it's a hand up. And it may be a feeling of embarrassment or a feeling of defeat around having to ask for help. But I would encourage you to do so because this is a very temporary situation. Things are going to move and change. It's going to be like this for a little while, but you can't be afraid to. First of all, you can't be afraid to swallow your pride a little bit, and you can't be afraid to fail. Which it feels like there has a feeling of failure in the last year. And of course that could be, right now we're in the time of COVID, so that could be just a matter of the shutdowns and the things around that. But this is a timeless reading, which means that there is a feeling of having really struggled. My encouragement for you is to ask for help if you can. Bring yourself to do it. I mean, and it can be hard for you to do that, and that's one of the things that you learn as you get older is to know when you really need to ask for the help that you need. So I'm going to pull a Tikiashi card for you. I should have done this at the beginning of the readings, but I didn't. So you get to see my casino style shuffling. There we go. Okay. Consideration. Pay attention. Let nothing move past without your examination. Be reflective. Do not make any hasty decisions. Many special moments are unfolding for your attention. If you look carefully of what has brought you to this moment, you will see how much of yourself deserves your loving consideration. So, what I'm feeling from that card is that particular line about looking closely at yourself and seeing what has brought you to this situation. And it's almost a feeling of, and this is may sound a little bit harsh, but it's a feeling of being too prideful, to take advantage of programs that were there to help you, or to take advantage of people that were there to help you, even if it meant swallowing your pride to do so. There is a feeling of that has brought you to this moment. And also, it's also a watchword to pay attention to the moment that you're in. Don't let things remain unexamined, because if you do that, you will not move through this as quickly as you would otherwise. So that is your reading, and it's not a bad reading. It does feel on the negative side, and I understand that, but what it means is that you're coming out of this cycle, and there is actually help for you if you're willing to reach out your hand and take it. So that is it for my dark blue people. So I'll give you some of the bright blessings for the bright blue people. There we go. So we're going to move on to the light blue stone, the light blue gem. Okay, so it feels like you've taken some risks over the last few months, some leaps of faith and some risks, and it seems to be paying off. There's a feeling of having saved financially, or having more of the ability to save financially, even though you have to work really hard at it. There is a feeling for some of my people, the Page of Cups, there are messages around fertility and birth and pregnancy. There may have been you might have gone through something not pleasant around that, either not being able to become pregnant or having things like miscarriages happening. There are negative aspects around fertility or having children. Now, for some of my light blue gem people, it's coming through really clearly that the negative is not coming from you. There's a feeling of wow, there's so much going on. There's so many people in on this one. The fool, the taking the chances and saving the money, is being weighed against childbearing and having children and raising children. So it's almost like, oh, we haven't saved enough, or you're being told that you haven't saved enough, or you feel that you haven't saved enough, and you don't have the financial security that you want in order to have this part happen yet. And there's negative message around that. So you might be butting heads with your partner about when is the right time to start having kids, and that aspect of it is wrapped up in your financial and your material saving of financial wealth and material wealth. So this might be just some conflict that's happening. Yeah, there is a feeling around it. There is a feeling of, okay, this particular card in its format right now, it has the meaning, it leans towards things like jealousy or envy. So there may be some people in my life, or there may be some people in this reading this is their reading, that are feeling really envious of the people who are right now having babies and having, you might start to feel like that clock is ticking, and there's almost a sense of jealousy, but there's also a sense of you're not ready. There's a sense of you haven't accumulated, or you feel you haven't accumulated enough material stability for that yet. Yeah, okay. This can be something that can get out of hand, this kind of envy and this kind of jealousy. And it can make you make decisions that are hasty and that are not well timed. So you must be very careful not to bend to your lower nature in this, and not to let your envy go too far. It can be really easy to have that happen. But there is definitely a feeling of, it feels definitely like this is around, there is definitely people dealing with fertility and dealing with childbearing around this. And, you know, feeling jealous that they are ready to do that and you're not ready to do that, or your partner is not ready to do that. Okay, so that's something to be aware of. This is definitely coming and feeling like conflict. Now, if you are not in a part of your life where childbearing and, you know, that kind of thing is what you're focused on, and you have picked this reading, you may have picked this reading because childbearing is the ultimate act of creation. So this can also mean people that are being very creative or want to be very creative and feeling blocked because they have to be at a regular job and they have to earn that money. But there is a sense of other people being out there and being creative and doing all the things that you want to do, and there's a lot of jealousy around that and a lot of conflict around that within yourself and within your partnerships. Yeah, it's definitely love related. You're definitely butting heads. For the people who picked this light blue gemstone, there's a butting of heads and a with your partner, and a feeling of you want this so badly. The Lovers is a very strong card. It is about love, it's about partnership, but it's about soul partnership, and it's about the very, very deep longings and very profound things that you are drawn to love in your life. Now, you may be butting heads if you've picked this card with your lover or with your partner, in regard to either having children or to following a less stringent path as far as your career goes and wanting to be more expressive and have more of that creative side of yourself. So you may find yourself butting heads and feeling like you're envious of other people who can do that, or that your partner is actually envious of you for doing that. So there's a lot going on here, because I feel like quite a few people may have been drawn to that light blue stone, and it's feeling like there are several different situations that are happening around this particular reading. Okay, here's what you need to know going out of this period. You have the financial and you will have the financial and material substance that you need to have the things that you want to have happen. You might not have it right away, but when you come through this period, and there is a period of conflict, there's a period of jealousy, there's a period of ugliness around it, you have the Ace of Pentacles, and the Ace of Pentacles is about material wealth. It's about gifts, it's about inheritance, it's about a piece of money in order to do something, so that if you were leaning to doing something creative and you've felt all this stuff around it that I've talked about, this may even be some kind of grant that you've tried to get in order to further your artistic leanings, or some kind of loan or help financially. But there's definitely financial help for you in your future, whether that's for starting your family or for starting a more creative pursuit. So that is actually very, very positive for you. So I'm going to leave it there, and I'm just going to, there we go. So all the bright blessings for my light stone people, light blue. So I'm just going to put that to the side. Okay. There's a feeling of real stability and someone in your life, like an older person, an older, very strong energied person who is your rock and the person you go to. It's like a father figure, grandfather figure, and that can actually be female. That doesn't mean it's male. It can be. This is a non-gendered thing. It's just the strength of the card and the what the card feels like. And this is somebody who's very, very stable, very, very much a helper, very much an advisor, and very strong-willed. And I get a sense of Aries around this person. I get a sense of a lot of strength around this person, and strength that they are willing to share. And there's celebration around this person. So this might be somebody in your life that they're having celebrations around, as a celebration of their life. This is very, very positive so far. Okay, and there's a sense that this is a mentor. This card is all about learning a new thing. This is about apprenticeship. This is about learning a whole bunch of new trade, new skills. This is which may not have gone that well actually, but this is definitely a sense of mentorship around it and a sense of celebration. So you might be coming to the end of a period of learning, end of a period of picking up a new skill or taking on an apprenticeship, or you may be coming to the end of a piece of education that you've been doing. This is definitely related to that. Okay, now what I'm sensing here is an indecision. Right, okay. You do have partnership coming up in your cards. So you may find that you are entering into new relationships and new partnerships, love relationships, business partnerships. This is generally more emotional than it is business though. The feeling around it is the High Priestess reversed. Now the High Priestess is one of the most potent cards in the entire deck. This is a person with a lot of esoteric knowledge, a lot of strength and a lot of ability, but she's reversed, which means that there's a feeling of maybe not using your energies in a way that is best at this time, or that was best at this time. You may have squandered a little bit of time, or a little bit of maybe not worked as hard as you possibly could have, but your mind is there. You have the ability. The ability is there. The High Priestess is totally there. And you do have partnership cards around you, so that's kind of cool. For women in this reading, or you know, anyone really, for anyone in this reading who's looking at a new relationship, you may find that you are drawing energy of a King of Wands into your life now. So you may be experiencing relationships with on a more intellectual level. The Wands are all about intellect. So this will be somebody who's very well read, who may even at times come off as a bit arrogant because of their well-readness. They definitely will come off that way because they are actually coming in their reversed. So there is a feeling of possibly a little bit of an imbalance going on in a relationship. And it feels like these are two separate things. So I may have picked up, like I said, these are not for one specific person, so this becomes very hard to read when there's different streams, but I feel like this is one stream and this is another. So this is a feeling of getting into a relationship, or you've been in a relationship with somebody who tries to put you on a lesser intellectual level than themselves. So somebody who talks down to you, somebody who thinks that they are smarter than you. And unfortunately, it's harming your self-esteem. The High Priestess is an extremely proficient card, and this is significator for a lot of people that are out there. And this person has that's why she's in reverse. She should be in her upright position, which means that she has everything she needs, and that she is in control and has all the knowledge, has all the deep knowledge that she needs, and has a lot of self-trust in that knowledge and the ability to make things happen for herself or himself. But you're in a relationship with someone who tries to put you lower than them on the intellectual scale, this is not a positive for you. Yeah. I feel like you're pulling out of a relationship like that. And I think that this might be cyclical for some people. This might go back to childhood for some people. In fact, it might go all the way back to fathers. The feeling of always being lesser to a man or a partner. I keep saying this in very cis terms, and I don't mean to do that. It's just my experience, so don't take it that way if you're not. But it's definitely a very strong male energy from the past that made you feel lesser than, and then you end up getting in relationships with people who feel lesser than, who make you feel lesser than. The nice thing I'm seeing is that you are actually pulling out of that, because the King of Cups is coming up next, and the King of Cups is somebody who is very sharing of their emotions, and this is a very strong person again. This is usually a man. It doesn't necessarily mean it is, but it would be a very, very strong woman if it wasn't. The King of Cups is a leader, very much leader energy. There's a lot of feeling of Pisces around this person. There's a lot of feeling of emotion around this person. Cups are always about emotion. And this is somebody who's really a helpmate and really pulls you up as opposed to pushing you down. So this is something that's happening. But I feel like this particular dynamic that I've talked about, being in relationships and partnerships with people who make you feel stupid, is something that stems from, goes right back to childhood, goes right back to when you were younger, and you're starting to break that cycle, which is really, really good to see. So that might be something that your spirit guides have been teaching you over the last while, and circumstance has been teaching you over the last year or more. Definitely more, because this feeling does go back to, and it's odd, because the feeling I'm getting is there's a respect around this childhood person that made you feel that way, but and that's probably even worse, because you did respect them so much and that they could make you feel that way, because it's very hard for someone that you don't respect to actually make you feel stupid. You don't have to feel that way, because you're definitely not. You just haven't been able to reverse this high priestess yet for yourself, and you will. And this person is going to help you, and they're going to help you understand your cycle and understand why you let people make you feel less than, because you're definitely not, and you don't have to feel that way, and you won't feel that way forever. I'm going to pull a Tikiashi for you too. I didn't do it for the last one, but I didn't feel the need to, so we're gonna... My casino skills going here. Okay. Commitment. Commitment to yourself will create all you need to learn and grow. Actively involve yourself in your world. Be a participant rather than a spectator. Life is for living, loving, and experiencing. Take the plunge. Once you make any commitment, follow it through with integrity that you deserve. Commitment to yourself will create all that you need to learn and grow. Now, I couldn't have said that any better, because honestly, that's really what this is about. It's about be committed to yourself, even though you're in relationships with other people. Be committed to yourself enough to put yourself first in regard to not letting anyone make you feel like you're less than. Don't accept that in your life. Have enough commitment to your own state of mind and your own spiritual health and your own physical, mental, and emotional health to not allow that in your life anymore. And I don't think you will. I do feel like you're coming out of that in a very strong way. So this may be something that you've learned over the last while and that you're learning still. So I hope that this helps you, and it certainly is enlightening for sure. So that is my aquamarines, or teal people. All the bright blessings. So thank you for sticking with me through the readings, and I hope that they were helpful. If you find that they have resonated with you in any way, or that they've played themselves out for you in any way, please leave me a message down below. I always like to hear how people are doing. And if you like the videos and you want to see more of this type of timeless tarot, then please let me know. Leave a comment down below, like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, and we'll let you know when these videos are happening. In the meantime, I hope that you are doing well and you're healthy and safe. Please stay safe, and don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night, because they're there in the light too.